So you guys should be able to see my presentation, correct? Thumbs up. Yep, good.
All set.
So as Susan said, I'm Leticia Velasquez, and with me is Abby Razer, my coworker. And we're going to go ahead and go through preparing your online course for next term. So our agenda for today, we have 5 don'ts, 5 do's, 5 areas that you should focus on in your course, and then a Q&A session. This presentation is based off of the assumption that you have already copied over your course. If you're like, wait, I don't know how to do that, then that's okay, because at the end during the Q&A session, we have some time that we can go ahead and demo how to do that for you as well. If you have any questions, you can save them to the end. You can drop them in the chat. Abby's going to be monitoring the chat for us. So we should be able to get you all set and all your questions answered. But we will start with our 5 don'ts. Abby and I talked about this for a long time, and we thought, what are the 5 things we don't want professors doing? And this is what we came up with. First off, oh, my announcements got a little jacked up. Don't use announcements for your syllabus or your content. Don't paste your syllabus in there. Don't, put in quizzes. Don't put in modules. That is not the purpose of announcements, and things will get buried. So your students aren't going to be able to find things later on. Announcements are for quick, short reminders. They're not meant for content. So that is our number 1 don't. Number 2 is don't upload scanned pages from a book, like your textbook. Don't download a reading that's scanned. Everything needs to be accessible for your students. So don't scan pages from a book. Third is to not post content on the colored tabs within D2L. And we can go ahead and show you what I mean when we get to the demo portion. Those colored tabs in D2L are more like folders, and that information that's placed there isn't accessible for students. It doesn't work with our screen readers that are built in, and if your students access their course on their cell phone using the Pulse app, they won't be able to see any of that content. So we highly recommend that professors not post on the colored tabs. 4, don't use D2L for non-academic purposes. Hopefully that's not something any of you are going to do, but that is a big thing campus-wide. So make sure that you are only using D2L for academics. And number 5, don't forget to provide clear instructions and support. D2L can be a little bit confusing for students, especially if they're new to campus. So we want to make sure that all of your assignments have clear explanations and that you provide them the support they need in order to be successful in your class. Next, we have our 5 do's. Do walk your students through your course. None of the units on campus that I'm aware of, well, maybe 1 or 2, have standardized courses. So that means even if you're within the same department, the way that you set up your course is not going to be the exact same way that your colleague sets up their course. So it's very important, regardless of in-person or online, that you walk your students through your course. In an online setting, you would do a navigation video. Craig has an excellent example of this, and it's in the checklist that we're going to provide you. But you need to do a navigation video so your students can be successful. We highly recommend that all videos be embedded. A page of links that link out to YouTube takes the student out of the LMS. So it's not necessarily recommended. Embedding them is better. But in terms of making sure that it's accessible, do provide a link to that as well, just in case something goes wrong with the embed. They'll still be able to access your content. Number 3, all external links should open in a new window, because if it opens in the same window, it makes it difficult for students to access the rest of your content. 4 is make sure everything's accessible. CTE has accessibility training that is open to all faculty members. We also have a lot of resources. If you don't want to go through the training, you can still have the documents and learn how D2L can help make your content accessible. And our biggest number 5 is use the gradebook. It's easier for you, it's easier for your students, and it helps ensure that your students know how they're progressing through the course. I've taken courses on campus, and one of my biggest pet peeves is not knowing what my grade is until it's posted in midterm or posted for the final. Like, I'm an adult and I'm going to go ask. But a lot of students aren't comfortable with that. So then they don't know how they're doing and they can't monitor their learning. So make sure you use the gradebook. We will have sessions during Sparklight in January about how to set up your gradebook and such. So if you're interested in that, definitely come to Sparklight and we can get you squared away on your gradebook. So the 5 areas that we're going to focus on are updating outdated information, updating mistakes, accessibility of your course, making sure that your course is personalized, and like I said, the all-important gradebook. So first thing you're going to do after you copy your course over is you're going to skim through your course and look for outdated information. One of the biggest areas that's outdated is the announcements. The course will copy over old announcements, so you need to make sure that you're going in and either deleting them, making them inactive, or resetting the dates so they'll show up in this semester's week 14. If you simply dismiss the announcement, that just removes it from your point of view, but your students are still going to see it, and they're still going to see the announcement from 2022 because you've never went in and updated it. So make sure that you're taking a look at your announcements and the dates and that they're relevant for your current course. Second thing is you're going to look at your schedule, your due dates, your assignments, and make sure that they are correctly dated. Due dates is a really big one. Students will start the class and then they'll already have like 10 things pop up in late assignments, and it's because they're all dated for the previous semester. So you'll want to go through and make sure that you adjust the dates in your course. You'll want to check your bio, your contact information. Did you switch offices? Did you get a different phone number? Did your department do something like really crazy? Now you have new department policies. All of that you'll want to make sure that you're updating each time you go ahead and copy your course over. And then you want to check your content just to make sure things are still relevant. Things change, some fields quicker than others. So you'll want to make sure that it's still relevant to your students. And I know it's a lot, like copying your course is easy. The part that you actually have to put in some of the work is going through and making sure that it is ready for the next semester. Again, more updates, you're going to comb through your course. You're going to look and make sure that your links work and that you don't have any dead links. Make sure that any videos you have, that they didn't come off of YouTube and now you need to go find another one. You'll want to look at your course to make sure that it flows nicely. Having a course that is logical and predictable helps students be more successful. So definitely check the navigation of your course. If you got a new textbook or you got a new edition, make sure that your page numbers and everything in the syllabus and what's listed in the content is up to date and that the chapters are correct. A big one is check your visibility settings. We can show you when we demo, it's the little eyeball. Sometimes things will get turned off and then students won't be able to see week 3. So you'll want to go through and make sure that if it's supposed to be off, that it is turned off. And if it's supposed to be on, that your students have access to that. And something that's really important on campus is making sure that your content is socially and culturally relevant, that you're looking for sources from diverse cultures, from diverse perspectives, to ensure that your students feel represented in what they're learning and that it's relevant to them. Speaking of feeling representative, accessibility is huge. If you're not aware, the Title II changes that are coming, like everybody's job is responsibility, or everybody's job and responsibility is accessibility. So make sure that your videos are captioned. It's super easy given all the tools. Make sure that even when you're using the auto captions, that you still watch the video to make sure that it is picking up what you're saying and that it is, transcribing that correctly. It's not hard to edit the videos. CTE has a lot of resources on that, and we're more than happy to help you with learning how to caption your videos and the right program for you. Alternative text is important for images because it helps students who may not be able to access the content, or if the website, because we know the internet on campus can get a little wonky, if those pictures don't load, the alternative text still loads, and your students can be able to read that and know what the picture is supposed to be about. You'll want to check your color contrast in your presentations. Some of the presentations you may have created, 5, 6, 7 years ago, and you've updated them, but we want to make sure that the color contrast is correct. There are accessibility checkers that can do that for you easily, but that's something that you'll want to look at. Are your documents using proper headings? It's going to help the reader and your students follow. Headings, not terribly difficult to do. It's actually really easy in Word, because if you do it in Word, it'll carry over to like PowerPoint when it gets converted. And then my favorite, which I actually am starting to learn a lot more about, and we have specialists within CTE, is using Adobe. So if you are one of those professors who has a scanned page, like a scanned chapter, Adobe has gotten really, really, really good about fixing that for you. I had a professor recently who all of his readings were scanned, and he's like, it's going to take me forever to get these all fixed. But it didn't. We just opened them in Adobe, and Adobe's like, hey, you want me to look for words? And we're like, yes. And it fixed all of his readings. And it was as easy as opening Adobe and letting it do its thing. So definitely start looking at Adobe Pro. We're an Adobe campus, so everybody has Adobe. If for some reason you need yours updated, you'll need to contact IT, and they should be able to help you with that. Personalization is our next topic. Check your welcome videos. If you're not using a welcome video, we highly recommend it because it helps set a nice tone for your course. But check them. Make sure that you don't reference an event that happened 3 years ago. You'll want to make it relevant to your students now. So go ahead and look through them, see if you need to re-record them. We actually really like using PowerPoint. If you need slides, we like recording in PowerPoint because PowerPoint's really good. If you need to update just this slide, you can upload, like re-record just this slide without having to redo the whole presentation. So it's really nice to make updates that way, and it's really efficient. Ensure that you are present in your course. One of the big things that fell off during COVID was the federal mandate for RSI, which is regular substantive interaction between professors and students, because everyone had to do it real fast. The government was like, we're going to pause this. Well, that pause is now ended. So RSI is a big part of online classes, and you need to ensure that you are present and interacting with your students. So are you available? Are you responsive? I'm not saying you have to answer them like at 6:30 on Sunday night, but giving them a window, like you will be responded to within 28 to 48 hours. Like that's responsive. Do you provide your students with clear goals? Do they know what their objectives are? Are those objectives measurable? Like those things are important. And are you approachable? When I went to school, like your professor was, they call it like the sage on the stage. Like you didn't talk to your professor. Your professor knew everything. They were kind of like standoffish. They were like way above you. Like, but now that's not really the thing. And students want to have it be more interactive. They want you to be approachable. You don't have to be their best friend, but make sure that you're approachable and that you show your students that you're a human too, because a lot of students have like social anxiety, so they don't want to really deal necessarily with an authoritative figure that they feel is going to shut them down. So make sure that you create a more like welcoming environment and that you are humanizing yourself. You don't have to tell them your whole life story. You don't have to tell them everything, but just show them that you're human. If you are recording a lecture video and your cat jumps in front of your screen, like, you have a cat. Now they know you have a cat and they're like, hey, I have a cat. And then it's a whole thing. So humanizing yourself can be really helpful with your course. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be relatable. And like I said, gradebook, super, super important. When you go through your gradebook, you want to make sure that your assignments are actually linked to your course, or linked throughout your course. Because if you have something on auto grade, like a quiz, but it's not linked, it won't make it to the gradebook. And then you'll have to go through and put it in on it like manually. And that is going to take up your time. And we want to try and make sure that we are saving your time as much as possible. You'll want to check your gradebook for duplicates. Sometimes when it is copied over, it may come over a little funky and you'll have an assignment that duplicates. So you'll want to delete those. And then you'll definitely want to make sure that your total points for your course and your weight percentages matches whatever your syllabus is. Sometimes syllabus will get updated, but it won't be reflected in the gradebook, and that can cause issues. So you'll want to go ahead and make sure that you're doing that to make it consistent with what your syllabus says. All right, so you should be able to see my course.
Yep.
So this course is empty, just to show you. So whenever you get your new course, the first thing you're going to do is take note of the course that you want to copy. That part's important. So I'm just going to copy my sandbox, but I want to make sure that I know what the course number and stuff is, because if you've been teaching the course for a long time and you go and search for it, you could have like 15 options to choose from. So the first thing you want to do is you make sure that you know what your course name is, all the numbers and everything. Sometimes I'll even come in and I'll just copy this because like work smarter, not harder. So once I'm in my course, the new course, that's the important bit. I'm going to come to more and then course admin. Then I'm going to go to import, export, copy. I'm going to search for an offering. And then this is where I'm going to paste in my course information, the one that I'm taking from. You'll want to double check like it's the correct semester and all that things, just to make sure that you're square. CTE can reset your course, but it's going to delay your process. So it's just better to make sure that you're double checking everything. So we'll add selected.
Can we pause here for a second?
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to show them that they have a choice there of how much
I was just going to do that.
Yay! Continue.
So you have the choice where you can copy everything. But if you know you have some modules that you don't want to copy, you can come in to select components and you can decide exactly what you want to copy. So maybe you did an assignment like 3 years ago and you want that one assignment. You can come in here, you can select the individual assignment and then pick the exact one you want, right? So that's an option too. For the most part, most people are just going to copy everything. So once you decide that, this little copy all components will pop up. You do have the option of managing your dates here. And you can go ahead and push your dates. You can also do that afterwards. So we're going to do that after. So right now it's copying my information and it just takes a little bit. I picked a course. So actually, I take that back. It depends on how much content and how many files and all that stuff you have in your course is going to determine how long it takes. The course that I'm copying from, I emptied it out this morning. So there's like very little in here. So it shouldn't take that long. And it's already done. So now it's copied over my course. But like I said, it copies over everything. So here are all of my, fake announcements that I've made. If I go and I just dismiss it, it's still there for my students. So you actually have to come in and edit these. So you can come in, you can edit them, change the dates. If you know it's always going to be like this announcement comes out in week 3, you can start it so it starts on week 3. You can always take it away, whatever you need to do. So that way it's not giving improper dates to your students. You'll want to do your dates, go to manage dates. You have the option, like this gives you a lot. You can do specific tools. If you only want to look at, your discussions, you can apply the filter and it'll only pull up your discussions. It'll show whichever ones have dates and how you can go ahead and adjust that. You can do them individually. That's absolutely a thing you can do. You can also do bulk edit and bulk offset. Put this back to normal. So you can bulk edit your dates. You have to check them all. Bulk edit, and then you can go through and change them that way. That can be like kind of tricky. Typically a bulk offset, if you're going to do it, is a little bit better, and it'll move everything. You can go forward by a certain number of days, certain number of hours. I kind of like starting with this range, and I don't know if you have a preference, Abby.
I have yet to develop a preference.
Yeah, so I'll start.
Thing I'll say is if you go forward in hours, you need to make sure that you're far enough away from like 12:01 a.m. so that the due dates are super clear for the student, because it's not fun when you can't turn in your work because you don't know what time it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like this. Just to get me started, I'll put like, the first day of last semester and then the first day of this semester, and I'll bulk offset that way. But you still have to go through and double check your dates, because you're going to have holidays, you're going to have like weird leap years where things get shifted. So you'll still want to make sure that your assignments are correct, but it'll at least move everything to the current semester. But that's how you do your bulk updating for your due dates. The other thing that's really important is if you've set up a quiz that uses like Respondus, you'll have to go in and readjust those. And in the resource that Abby shared on how to, like from KBase or for the Office of Information Technology, from their resources that we posted there, it'll tell you how to go ahead and reactivate your Respondus courses. Other important things to note, if you use video classroom, virtual classroom, those do not carry from one semester to another. So you're not going to have those recorded classes, which in my opinion is actually a good thing, because it's better to record like the current classes than share previous recordings of classes with your student.